Alright, I think I finally found a good spot. It's actually quite warm, so I'm going to take off my jacket. Okay, so this week I wanted to tell you something about fear of flying. Basically, the idea came yesterday for two reasons. Yesterday I did a course, a safety equipment course. This was about all the safety equipment that we have on board. Also, there was a girl that wrote me on Instagram because she told me that she was afraid of flying. And then I was thinking, why do I not make a video combining all of these things to tell you more about the training that pilots and cabin crew have to do, about the safety equipment on board, and all of this for people that may be afraid of flying. I really love flying, and I would not get on board if I was at any moment doubting of the safety of the flight. Let me state that first. So initially I would like to tell you about all the safety equipment that we have on board. There are enough emergency exits to evacuate the plane in 90 seconds with only half of the amount of doors available. Every airplane has to fit with this requirement in order to be allowed to fly. About the oxygen masks, you know that in case of a rapid decompression, the oxygen mask will drop out of the panel above you. This is what they always say, right? But when does this actually happen? The pressure and the amount of oxygen that you have high in the air, at 10 kilometers up in the air, is not enough to breathe for us. And therefore, if there is a decompression, it basically means that the pilots will make a rapid descent to a lower altitude where it is safe for us and for the passengers. So we put on our mask and we start our descent. We have fire extinguishers on board. We have water extinguishers and halon. The good thing from halon is that it can also extinguish electrical fires and liquid fires. So therefore halon is usually the preferred method to fight a fire. Then we have the evacuation slides. They are made in a way that you can jump off. You should not touch it because it can become, during your slide, it could become quite hot. So always arms like this and jump off, and they end up either on the ground or in the water. Some of the emergency slides can later, after the evacuation, be used as a life raft. So this was just really a little bit about the emergency equipment that we have on board. Basically, we do every year a course for the aircraft safety equipment. We know what we have on board and we know where to find it, but it's really good to do these kind of recurrent courses. Also, every 3 years we have a fire and smoke course. I actually did it a few weeks ago on how to evacuate passengers from the plane and how to jump off the slides, how to instruct people on how to jump off the slides. We did the fire course where we had to extinguish fires in the galley of the plane. It was not a real plane, but it was a real galley where there was fight in the oven and in one of the trolleys. It's really good to practice these things, but because the crew, the cabin crew and the pilots are going to help you to get off the plane safely. And this is our main goal, to get our passengers safely from one destination to the other. So then a little bit more about fear of flying. A few months ago, after normal duty, we had to stay on board because there was a group of people that were afraid to fly. They were coming on board just to be on board, to cope with their fear, which is really good. It's in Italy. It's an initiative called Paura di Volare, and these are people that are willing to work on their fear, and there were psychologists on board to help them. And for me it was really interesting. Now I could not really help them so much because I don't speak Italian that well, but my captain was Italian, and really I believe that he really helped some people very well because he answered all of their questions. what if this happens, what if that happens, and he was so patient. He explained everything, and that would be great if we could, from those 20 people that were on board, if there was one that we have helped to get rid of their fear of flying, that would be amazing. I believe that when people are afraid of flying, there could be multiple reasons for it. It could be a claustrophobic reason, the idea of not being able to get out, or being afraid that there will not be enough oxygen. Another reason could be after seeing or hearing about many stories of airplane crashes, that people are afraid to actually get into the same situation, or they have had a traumatic experience one day when they actually did get on board. There can be really many different reasons for being afraid of flying. So what I would like to tell you is that the pilots and the cabin crew get regular training. For the pilots, 3 times a year we do an exam. This is 2 times in the simulator, where all different scenarios, all almost impossible scenarios are being given and simulated, and we have to cope with it. We have to make sure to get the plane safely on the ground. This is twice a year, every 6 months, and then there is one more time in flight an exam. This is called the line check, where basically it's the normal situation. We don't practice anything crazy there, but this is just that an examiner will come with us and check our performance during a normal day of flying. Besides that, as I told you before, we have regular courses, for example, about the safety equipment, about CRM, the ability to work together, everything non-technical about flying, being aware of fatigue, stress management, decision making. And we get courses every 2 months about different weather phenomena, how to cope with thunderstorm, with winter operations where it's ice, how to cope with wind and wind shear that I talked about in a previous vlog. This we all do online, and then we have to make an exam online as well. So that is about the pilot and the crew part. Then the airplanes, they get checked every day. Every day the plane gets checked by maintenance to verify if everything is going okay. If during flight we notice something that is not good, we write it down, and the maintenance will, before the plane continues flying again, the maintenance will have to have a look at it, do various checks, and replace a part if this is required. Before every flight, we walk around the plane to check if everything is good, and more intensive and extensive maintenance checks are being done in different intervals according to the type of plane and the regulations. So yes, I am not going to lie, there is always a chance of something happening, really. I can tell you, no, but it's the safest way to travel. Yes, and you've probably heard that already. It is the safest way to travel. You hear in the news the aircraft accidents because they are not so often, so it's news. If you're high in the air, the airplane is the safe place. Because if you're in the airplane, then you do not even want to get out, because outside at such altitude there is no oxygen to breathe. So high in the air, the airplane is the safe place. We will always make sure that there is enough oxygen to breathe. Traveling is amazing, and I really hope that all of you who are afraid of flying, that you can face your fears and slowly, if you're able to, get on a flight, even if it's a very short flight, but try and cope with these fears, because traveling is amazing. You will be amazed by the views you get from up there, and I just really hope that you can enjoy it one day as much as I do. What I would really like to tell you is, if you don't feel good, please, at the moment you enter the plane, tell the cabin crew about the fear of flying. If you feel hot, if you feel cold, if you feel thirsty, ask the cabin crew, because they are there for you, especially for physiological needs. They will really help you. don't be afraid to speak up about that. The whole crew will make sure that you feel comfortable. So that's all I want to say about it. I hope this helps a little bit, that you know a little bit more about how things go. And I understand that I personally cannot take away your fear of flying, but I hope that it can help in the slightest way. And maybe I'll see you on board one day. So thank you so much for watching. I'm just going to continue and enjoy a little bit of this view. This is where you can travel to, and for me it's home. I'm still so amazed, and I hope to see you next week. I'm going to fly the whole week, so I will definitely next week show you a little bit of my week of flying. Mwah! Bye bye. Thank you so much.